Morning, everybody. Good morning. Morning, Sharice, Pam, Brenda, Corey, Eric from Puerto Rico. Good morning. Linda. All right. Well, as everybody's jumping on here, again, as always, appreciate everybody being on. Just wanted to, I think today's topic is kind of an important one and one that folks struggle with. So, but again, before we jump into that, just some real quick instructions for folks that might be new to Periscope. If you'd like to share this with friends or a team, if you swipe right or swipe up, then just follow the instructions, and then you can do that. And if you like what you hear, if you just tap the bottom right of the screen, then you'll see some hearts come up. Always appreciate that. So appreciate you all being on and sharing. And so let's get into it. I think this is something people struggle with. And the funny part is when people are sitting down, good morning, Melissa, and trying to put together their list, they get basically writer's block, and you sit down and you want to come up with this important list that's gonna obviously change your life and enable you to be able to have something organized to work from and be able to reach out to folks. So some mind triggers basically are a great idea, and there are a lot of those out there. If you go to Network Marketing Pro, which is Eric Worre, he has a free, basically a mind trigger tool that you can use in our welcome kit, which is an amazing source for this. There's another way to again go through all that. So I can't think of a better source than ours, but again, I just want to throw different options out there. And maybe if today were day one for you, obviously you wouldn't want to wait. And of course our list is going to come in a week. Now, you can go into our back office and download that, print it out, and work from that. So, my objective is always, again, to throw out different options, and, you need to find what works for you. But one of the biggest things, though, is making sure that your list is written. A lot of people say, oh, I've got it here, I've got it in my phone, or whatever. It's not a list until you physically write it down. And the other thing that I recommend, and I do this, is carry your list with you. If you keep it with you, you can add to it. I've had so many times that, I've just been riding down the road, going to an appointment, or, when I was working a job, I'm on my way to work, I'm on my way home, and somebody's name pops into my head. Well, I need to be able to add that. And if I'm just putting it on a scrap of paper or something like that. Good morning, Jim Mallory, my man. Then it's not organized. It's not. And yes, I'm a green personality. That's a detail-oriented person. Chances are. So, but it's instead of having 15 different notes in places and losing it and misplacing it. What did I do with it? Oh man, what was that name I thought of? If you've got it in one organized place, it's going to help you keep organized and be able to move through that list as time goes on. So, so what are some? There are a lot of acronyms out there. What can I do to help me build my list when I'm sitting down? Well, a great one is Frank. So I'm gonna go through this with you, and this is really kind of list building 101, but I think that's important. And by the way, today we're going to touch on warm market and really kind of focus on the list. Tomorrow, at the request of Linda Gash, we're going to touch on cold market. So I want to get into that a little bit too, and kind of help folks. That's another area that I think a lot of folks really kind of struggle with. So, but anyway, for today, so let's go through this real quickly, this Frank acronym. F is for friends. Now, friends are, listen, we've all got a huge list of friends in our cell phone. I want to say the the number that's been stated is the average fifth grader knows over 200 people. Okay, well, by the time we're adults, I mean, it is just hundreds and hundreds of people. Problem is, and again, this is why we need to have the list written down. And as I say, my suggestion is keep it with you, because you're going to think of people. You can't come up with those hundreds and hundreds of people right off the top of your head. But if we sit down and again, use this acronym, this FRANK, which is probably the most common one, then it enables us to just think of people and rattle off and probably put together, for most of us, a 1 to 200 person list by the time we're done. So again, so it's friends is the F in Frank. Like I said, phone, social media. Now, I'll caution you with social media, your Facebook friends aren't always friends. But I would go through there and really pick out the ones that truly are your friends. People that you have a good relationship. Now, I mean, I've got friends from high school, for example, that will reach out to me and friend request me. I had that happen recently and was able to share the business with that person. So, and then I have others that I reach out to. So friends of friends and, things like that. So, that list in terms of friends can go on and on and on and on. So, another one though is relatives. Now, look, we all know relatives, they're the toughest. I've talked about this before, and we've all got that negative brother-in-law, right? But you know what? Put them on the list, because the funny part is, as you're going through, and you all have heard me share my invitation, and I'll do something that's just invitations. I'll do a Periscope on just that, and do that really pretty soon. But just to kind of touch on this with the negative brother-in-law, one of my invitations is, pay somebody a compliment, ask them a small favor, and ask them for their opinion, right? And that's really the way I built my business. So if you don't leave your negative brother-in-law off your list, because there's value to that, and there's a way to approach your negative brother-in-law. And again, we'll go into that on the invitation talk. But so make sure your relatives are on there. Again, they're the toughest. That doesn't mean that we're never necessarily gonna make them a primary focus. It is important. Those are the ones we love and care about, in addition to our friends. So it's important to have them on there. But again, so make sure they're on there. Another one, the A, is associates. So the real question here, and this is a big thing for me, this is about reciprocation. Who do you write a check to? Who does your dry cleaning? Who is your accountant? Who fixes your car? And, things like that. When you start realizing and thinking about, who do I support in their business? Who do I help make a living? Those people need to be on our list. If nothing else, they need to consider being a customer. And as far as I'm concerned, they need to be customers. If you've supported their business for 10, 15, 20 years, isn't it time for them to support your business? So again, very important to have the associates on there that you support and that you help to make a living. Another one is neighbors. Everybody's different in terms of their social level, their activity level, and how well do you know your neighbors, that kind of thing. And prior to being able to be full-time network marketing, man, I was just working all the time. 40, 50, 60, 70, sometimes 80 hours a week. And I'm sure there are a lot of you that are doing the same thing. I didn't even know my neighbors, but my wife Holly knew our neighbors, so make sure, and especially if you're a married couple, work together in building this list, because it's funny when you sit down and you say a name, then your spouse or significant other rattles off another name. So again, it's about triggering that thought and just working together to build this list. And you'll be amazed at how big your warm market list is when you finish this. So in addition to neighbors, then it's kids. Now, kids, obviously, we're not necessarily thinking of the kids for the kids, but what do kids have? They have parents. Okay, so we want to think of the kids because of the parents that can lead to. Now, kids could be, and I'm going to throw an S in there at the end, so it's Franks instead of just Frank. S is for sports. This could be your kids' sports. It could be maybe sports you play. Maybe you're in some kind of sports league, bowling, softball, that kind of thing. And sports goes beyond that. It could be an activity. Obviously sport could include golf and things like that. And if you're a member of a golf club or a tennis club or a country club or again, when you get into activities, maybe a yacht club or for me, I'm a private pilot, so it could be a flying club. It could just be folks that I know, obviously, from the airport. And of course, they're on my list, and I've reached out to them. And some are customers, some are associates, etc. But whatever activity, what's your hobby? What's your sport? Where do you spend your time in? What's your passion outside of business, work, and everything else? And that, again, is another great resource in terms of your list. Here's the value, and it's a big one when it comes to hobbies, sports, activities, that kind of thing, is it's typically something that you're relaxed doing, you're having fun, it's something, again, that you're passionate about, that if you had extra spare time, you'd spend your time doing this with maybe your spouse or significant other and the friends that you have, that the relationships that you built through that activity. And those people, it's just about common interest because you're out there having fun together. These are people that you can reach out to and be very comfortable doing. So make sure they're on your list is my point. So again, by the time you're done, as I said, you should have 100 to 200 people. I think you'd be surprised. You may even have significantly more than that on your list by the time you go through this process. And again, I already talked about this, but keeping your list with you is key. I have always viewed my list as a living, growing thing. And that's really what it is, because as you add to it, and you're going to go through a process, and again, organize it however you want, or I love the list we have in our own welcome kit that we can go through and basically check off the different steps and phases as you move people through the process with exposures, etc. And I've said this before, people are on my list until they're either in or they literally tell me to just leave them alone. This is just flat out not for me. Okay. And I live by the rule again that no is not no. It's not right now. So I don't want to go through the steps of exactly what to do with the list. Today was just about building the list and creating it. We will talk about what to do with the list, how to work it, how to prioritize it, that kind of thing. But one of my pieces of advice is once you have your list, choose or prioritize your top 10 to 20. These are the people that you want to start reaching out to build your business. And how do you prioritize? People use a check mark system or that kind of thing, and there are a lot of different ways to do that. And I'll quickly touch on that just so you can prioritize. But again, it's not about where are we exactly going with the list and who are we reaching out to. But, people, again, that are successful, connected, influential people, those should be your top 10 to 20. And again, typically that's going to be the chicken list. I talk about that often. So that's the place to start. Don't start with your comfort level. Start with the chicken list, the ones that make your palms sweat at the thought of calling them. That's where you start. So, but thinking big and dreaming big is one of the keys with your list. And again, that's just it's huge in building a business. Having a big list is comfort. It's confidence. And here's the simple fact behind this. If you've got a list of 12 people because you haven't gone through this process properly of creating a massive list and a massive database for you to work from, and if you've got a list of 12 people and 7 of them say no and you're down to 5, man, that's an uncomfortable place to be. So it's then everyone, oh my gosh, I've only got 5 left. I'm almost out of people. Well, none of us are out of people. And again, I'll get into that tomorrow with the cold market. But we don't run out of people. We just stop thinking. So keep your list big, keep it growing, because if you've got a list of 200 people and 7 people say no to you, man, your mentality is next, 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 and just move on to the next one. Because and you keep in touch with the other ones, have a drip campaign that's going to basically keep them at least exposed to the information and exposed to your growth and your success. And again, that it's a huge confidence builder to have a huge list, and it's so important. So, listen, if you're going to dream anyway, dream big. It's that old saying of shoot for the moon and you'll get the stars, right? So. I'll close with this quote today. I love this from Jim Rohn. You guys know I think Jim Rohn was awesome. Let others lead small lives, but not you. Let others argue over small things, but not you. Let others cry over small hurts, but not you. Let others leave their future in someone else's hands, but not you. Dream big, have a big list, go big, go all in, and knock it out of the park, because it's yours to have. So again, we'll start with that. We've got a big list. We'll talk about invitations and what to do with it. And like I said, but tomorrow is cold market. So I'm excited about kind of digging into that a little bit tomorrow morning. So again, appreciate y'all being on. Make sure you run the day and own the day. Don't let it run you. Have an awesome day, and we'll talk with you tomorrow morning.